Hello and welcome back to Are You Serious? I'm an American woman who lived in Egypt for a few years, and I lived and worked with Egyptians. I rescued animals and reverted to Islam after I returned to the United States. Today, we're taking a look at an American who went to Dubai on a vacation. Why is she still there? She was arrested, detained. If you're an American, whenever you leave the borders of the United States, how you normally live your life no longer applies. You have to look into the local laws. You have to study them. You have to take all of the advice that's given to you. This is Tierra Allen. She's from Houston, Texas. She's only 29 years old. She actually has a YouTube channel called Sassy Trucker. She drives a rig. She drives a big rig, a car transporter. And she went to Dubai with a couple of other influencers who also drive trucks. I mean, pretty cool, right? So I'm watching one of her videos here. She's in Dubai in this video. This is entirely inappropriate. She even has it on her Snapchat. You can see the location below. You can't do this. You can't. But that wasn't the issue. Now, she is being detained in the country, and the authorities have confiscated her passport. She cannot leave the country. But keep in mind, she's not in jail, she's not in a prison. She's staying in an Airbnb, and they are keeping her there until her trial date. So she's not, she's not in jail. Thank God. Thank God. She should, I mean, if there are any blessings for her, that she should consider that to be one of them. So here's the problem. Now, this was she did a whole vlog on her trip to Dubai. I'll watch some of it with you. A lot of her manner of dress and behavior, you can't do in a Muslim country. You just cannot. You got to be on your best behavior. If you're in your hotel room and like your curtains are closed, do what you want. Once you're in privacy, you can go all out and just while out as much as you want. But when you're in public, you have to behave yourself, including clothing, mannerisms. Chill out a little bit, chill way out. So here's what happened. Her and her friend rent a car. Okay. There was one of her guy friends was on this trip with them. That's not a problem. He has his own room and everything, I'm sure. Um, they rent a car together, and he's driving, she's the passenger. They get into a car crash. Now they got the insurance. This is what Newsweek is reporting, that it was insured. They returned to the car rental company. The mother of Tierra is saying that it was just a fender bender, very minor fender bender. And this was at the end of May when this happened. So we're almost at the end of July now. So her guy friend is also detained by the police, but he's let go after about a week. Tierra Allen finds that she left some stuff in the car after they returned it to the car rental agency. So she goes back there. This is what she tells her mother. It's a small local firm in Dubai. So it's not like, like a Hertz or something. So they said, come get your stuff. When she got there, the person working there told her that she would need to pay a large sum of money to have her ID and her purse returned to her. They're not saying what the amount of money was for some reason. Tierra's like, I can't pay. My credit cards are in my purse. My bank cards are in my purse. Allegedly, the male employee said to her, find a way. So we'll watch a little bit of her videos. You can see that, she's not exactly modest in both dress and behavior. Should that matter? No. But I'm speaking as an American within the United States borders. I used to live in Egypt. So I know that there's a big difference in how you can behave in public, a big difference. So they start arguing, and she raises her voice. She says that the guy became very aggressive with her, started shouting at her, and chased her out of the building. She said she yelled back because she was scared, she was afraid, and she was just lost at that point, panicked. When she left, she used whatever money she had to take a bus back to her hotel. So, she doesn't have her purse with her. So she didn't even know where she was. And this guy is like demanding money from her to get her purse back. This is what she says. We don't have the other side yet. Sometimes with these types of incidents, the cultural divide is so large that sometimes what you think is going on isn't actually going on. So he may have asked her for money, but it may have been maybe there was a problem with the insurance paying for the fender bender. And they were telling her, you have to, if you want to get your stuff out of the car, you have to pay whatever the repairs are. And she flipped out, and she flipped out when, that could have been something maybe that could have been discussed. She could have called her friend and like that would have been the thing to do. Call your male friend, have him come down and work it out. He was the one that rented the car. So the car rental agency employee called the police and brought a case against her. Tierra's mother says even though the guy initiated the screaming and was trying to extort her out of money, now that's also possible, but he called the police. So if he was trying to extort money from her, would he call the police? I don't know. We don't know what happened. So they decided the only way out was to pay the man the money. And Tierra Allen returned to the car rental agency to pay. She offered to pay. And she says that he then told her that the original price had now doubled. Tierra Allen told her mother she tried to raise the cash, but when she returned once more to offer payment, she was told the price had been raised again. At this point, she could have called the police. It was at this point she could have called the police. If he's trying to scam her, call the police. The mother is unsure of the car rental company name. So no news agencies have been able to reach out to the company to ask them for their side of the story. So Tierra's mother says, I've never seen her so stressed. She's such a sweet person. She's a very soft-spoken, sweet young lady and a very strong, very positive young lady. She's tried to hide her stress from me, but I was on a video call with her and I could see the pain in her face. I told her it's okay to cry, allow your emotions to be released, don't hold it all in. And she was like, no, now I see, this is what the mother's saying, now I see why people get depressed and why they unalive themselves over here. And that's when I lost it. She just wants to return safely home to the US and return back to work. The mother reached out to a legal advice organization called Detained in Dubai. And they're now supporting Tierra's fight for justice. So the CEO of Detained in Dubai, Radha Sterling, told Newsweek on Monday that she has called on Allen's political representatives, including Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and Senator Ted Cruz, to liaise with the U.S. consulate in the UAE before she ends up in a desert prison. But she's sitting in her Airbnb, just waiting. Now, one news agency says that the UAE consulate is expected to make a statement, but Newsweek reached out to the U.S. Embassy and consulate in the UAE, but a spokesperson said, due to the Privacy Act, we don't comment on consular cases. So they're hoping that the UAE embassy in the States will comment on. I'll tell you a little bit about what the U.S. tells you on their this is on the State Department's website for the federal government of the United States, local laws and special circumstances. You can look this up on every single country in the world. So know before you go, Criminal penalties. You are subject to local laws. If you violate local laws, even unknowingly, you may be expelled, arrested, or imprisoned. As each emirate has its own independent judicial system, legal procedures and penalties vary throughout the country. So she is currently in the Emirate of Dubai. Arrest notification. UAE authorities do not routinely notify the U.S. Embassy or consulate of a U.S. citizen's arrest. If you are arrested or detained, ask police or prison officials to notify the U.S. Embassy or consulate immediately. If you are not allowed to do so, ask a friend or family member to contact the U.S. Embassy or consulate. Now, you might say, well, doesn't she get a phone call? You're not in the United States. You're not in the U.S. You got to forget about all your rights as a U.S. citizen. They do not apply. Codes of behavior and dress. This could be what's kind of applying to Tierra here. Public decency and morality laws throughout the UAE are much stricter than in the United States. Penalties for public displays of affection or immodesty may be imposed. Sexual relations outside of marriage are illegal in the UAE, and convicted individuals have been punished by lengthy jail sentences. Pregnancy outside of marriage can result in arrest and detention. Doctors may ask for proof of marriage during prenatal visits, and those giving birth in the UAE must present a marriage certificate to receive medical care and register the child's birth. Failure to do so has resulted in the arrests of both unmarried mothers and fathers, as well as deportation. Individuals in the UAE may be arrested, fined, and or deported for committing any of the following acts. Making rude gestures. So like flipping up the middle finger in the US is basically like F off. It's seen a little bit differently in the Middle East, or a thumbs up even. Like a middle finger up is saying to put the finger somewhere specific. So it's like even more than just an FU. Swearing, touching another person without his or her permission, making derogatory statements about the UAE. This is very, very important. Do not talk smack about your host country wherever you are. Don't do it. Even if you're in a country that you feel like it might be okay to do that, don't do that. Don't do that. Keep your comments for when you get back within the US borders. Derogatory statements about the UAE, the royal families, or local governments or other people. Travelers should keep in mind the cultural differences among the many people who coexist in the UAE. There's a lot of expats from a lot of different areas, and should be cognizant that unwitting actions, including clothing choices, may invite unwanted attention. So according to the UAE federal penalties law, and this is under UAE Penal Code Article 373, publicly engaging in an indecent act can lead to a hefty fine ranging from 1,000 UAE dirham, which is $272 US, up to 50,000 UAE dirhams, which is $13,612.85 US. One UAE dirham equals 27 cents to the US dollar. Swearing in public is an absolute no-go. Now, we don't know if she swore, but if she did, that's going to be a problem. With the use of infamous words, infamous words. MF is especially bad. You can't insult someone's mother or even mention anyone's mother. That's don't do that. Such language is viewed as a disgrace to an individual's honor and modesty. If caught swearing, one could face up to a year behind bars and a wallet-crunching fine of up to 10,000 dirhams, which is $2,722.57 US. It's crystal clear, according to Lovin Dubai, that the UAE takes a firm stand on maintaining decorum and upholding societal standards. So be mindful when communicating with a friend or a stranger in Dubai. So this is a photo of sassy trucker Tierra Allen, 29 years old. She's in public. You cannot dress like this in Dubai. You can't. Now, any woman can wear whatever she wants, act however you want, pretty much within the United States. When you travel outside of the border, you're no longer in the United States. You can see women back here wearing abaya. You can see this woman, she's not veiled, but she's wearing a long tunic with leggings. This looks like there are a lot of foreigners in Dubai, but she doesn't appear to be wearing anything on her legs, arms. But this is a whole other level, very cleavage out, all that stuff. You can't. You just can't. Now, do I agree with all of these things in Islamic countries? Not necessarily. I believe that people should have, generally freedom of speech. And that's a right that you have in the United States. You don't have that everywhere you go, and especially not in countries like this. You can't just mouth off and say whatever you want. You have to be on your absolute best behavior, as if you are, meeting your grandmother in church. Like, wear a cardigan, cover up a little bit, don't swear, just be as respectful as you possibly can. And like I said, once you get behind closed doors in your hotel room, do what you want, while out, do what you got to do. Nobody's business what you do in private. I did see a lawyer in Texas speaking about this, and he did kind of spin it. And it's smart to spin it the way that he did, to say that women aren't allowed to shout essentially in public. It's not just women, it's everybody. It's everybody. And as far as we know, because we still only have one side of the story, she could have been arrested for something different. I'm still thinking about the insurance and the fender bender. And I'm wondering still if there's something about that she didn't understand. And that's not necessarily, on her, because I just from my own experience living in a completely different culture, sometimes things get misconstrued on both sides. On both sides. So I'm wondering if it's really about something else. But the public display, the screaming, cursing, can't do that. But I saw that this lawyer was spinning it to say that she's a woman, and because that is a very common, honestly, it's a misconception, honestly, about the Middle East, that women aren't respected. I am telling you, as someone who grew up in the United States of America, born in the US, didn't travel to Egypt, didn't travel outside of the country until I was 34 years old. So I'm an independent woman. I fully support myself. I don't rely on anybody for anything. But I can tell you that as an American woman, having lived in North Africa, Middle East, I felt more respected as a woman than I ever have or do here in the United States. Now, you might just, mind blown, like, what? I know, but it's the truth. It's the truth. So I'm wondering if this lawyer kind of, took the misconception that women have no rights or are, not respected whatsoever, and kind of ran with that to say that, basically to imply that that's the reason she was arrested, and that a man wouldn't be arrested for the same thing. And that's just not true. It's just not true. But I think, having studied a lot of court cases in the past, I do admire attorneys for the way that they can look at things in all different ways to still be telling the truth, but just kind of changing your way of thinking about something that's maybe not what everyone else is thinking. If you think of like defense lawyers, like they can come up with some pretty creative thing, playing on the American public's perception that women aren't respected, and the only reason she was arrested is because she was a woman acting out in public. And I understand that, and it is going to garner the sympathy of many Americans for sure, because a lot of Americans do think that. And if it does apply some pressure to the Dubai government, the UAE, I don't know. I don't think it will. Arab culture has been the way that it is for literally thousands of years, and not a lot has changed. Not a lot. And I think sometimes people that aren't from the area, who haven't been to the area for any real time period, I'm not talking about vacations and things, often feel that, oh, they're in the Stone Ages. They're not developed. They're not forward thinking. And, I think I think that can be a way for foreigners to just kind of something that they don't understand. And when I say foreigners, I mean like Americans, Canadians, Europeans, basically anyone who's not in the Arab culture, for something that they don't understand, that we don't understand as foreigners. We just want to put it in a neat little box and tie it with a bow. We want to be able to categorize it, and so we can put it on the shelf. Just because we don't quite get it. So we're just going to say, oh, women aren't respected. Oh, they're in the Stone Ages, this, that, and just put it aside. It's far more complex than that. And I don't agree with that at all. Having lived there for a couple of years, having been fully immersed, I didn't live amongst other foreigners. So Tierra, I hope they let you go pretty soon. I think that they're probably, I've never been to the UAE. I've never been to Dubai. I had a friend who used to travel there every so often from Egypt for work. Once a month, she had to go there. But, and really what she used to tell me about Dubai is that it's a beautiful place, but it's all man-made. There's no natural beauty. It's all man-made. And that used to get to her, actually. So that used to bother her after a while. So I can't really predict what's going to happen with Tierra. What I hope will happen, since they are just keeping her in an Airbnb and she's not in jail, I think that's a very good sign. They do hold people in their hotel rooms, when they detain them. They haven't said that she needs to pay a fine. She hasn't, she is, I don't know when her court date is. Hopefully she'll be given a translator that speaks excellent English. I've heard, in other Middle Eastern countries where, oh yeah, I'm going to get a translator, but they barely speak English. So, that may or may not be helpful. But there is this organization detained in Dubai that may be helping her out, I hope, if they are there and they can, help her out a little bit in some way. I'm hoping that they'll hold her for a period of time in the Airbnb and consider it time served and just put her on a plane and deport her. That's what I hope happens. That's what I hope. I think that would be the best case scenario. And I mean, even if she has to stay there a little bit longer, that's going to be far better than going to jail. Far better. Those aren't good conditions. I mean, think about American prisons. Those aren't good conditions. So, yeah. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the car rental agency was scamming her and trying to extort her? Do you think that there was a misunderstanding? I don't know. Let me know. I'm curious. If you like my content, please hit the subscribe button to get more. You'll be notified of more if you hit that bell as well, and hit the thumbs up if you liked it as well. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.